Okay guys, so what I'm going to show you now is the second way of putting the springs, the cables and the spacers into the tray. The benefit of this is that it's easier to install the trays with less weight in them, and this is how some of our fitters do it. And I wanted to show everybody Jim's method of installing the cables, because it all gets quite complicated with these, so that it's nice and easy. The trick is breaking everything down into steps. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the springs in, I'll then put the clips onto the springs, then we'll go to the front of the tray and we'll install the pulley with the cable. Okay, so let's get started. So here we are with the springs with the back end clip on there, and you can see we're going to install these springs into the tray and the hooks are going to be up the way, okay? And that's it, it's that simple. We then pass the bracket back through the slot here, and then we get what is euphemistically called the wood-shaped bracket. I'll let you work that one out yourself. Just pop it in there like that, and that then secures the springs in the tray. We then have the clips, the spring clips, and there's 4 of these, and effectively what we're going to do is place them up the spring equidistant, and you can see one side's open and one side's closed. You just rotate them one after the other, okay? It's dead simple. We just pop them in underneath the spring, equidistant like that. Nice and easy. Like I say, rotating them backwards and forwards. And then we get to the front one. Okay, so why did I want to show you the front clip? Well, it's quite important because these clips are what's allowing the springs to glide as they stretch, which makes the door nice and quiet. Now, if we don't position this one correctly, what can happen is when the spring is under tension, it can bend down and this part of the spring here can drag on the spring tray. So what we do is we position it no more than 10 millimeters away, which is about 3 coils on the spring from where the spring starts to taper. Dead simple, and then you just sit it into the other one and pop it in. But that's one of the key clips, okay? And that'll make your door nice and quiet. So we've got our springs in, and what we're now going to do is we're going to go to the front of the tray and we're going to fit the pulleys and cables, which is the bit that sort of confuses most people. Here we go. Okay, so here we are with the pulley and the cables, and you can see this all can get quite messy. Now what I've already done is I've got my pulley and I've put these wedges by tapping them into the pulley as we did earlier on the other method, and these wedges stop the cables coming out of the pulley, so you don't need to worry about the pulley. At this point as well, upside down makes no difference, it's not handed. These wedges perform another job. Again, you'll see that they are nylon basically, and these sit in the tray and again glide along the tray, so they're really, really important, okay? Now let's think about how the pulley works with the leg. What we have here is we've got a set of panels, and the panels will have a hook up in the bottom, and the cable hooks up onto the bottom of the panels, runs up through the sheave wheel, connects onto this pulley, runs round and is anchored on the outside of the frame. And the springs are the counterbalance to the weight of the panels. So we've got to make sure all of this is the right way around. So the hook up is on the inside of the frame leg, okay? So all we're going to do now is we're going to pass the hook up over the sheave wheel on that side of it, holding everything in this orientation, and then we'll worry about straightening the cables afterwards, okay? So here we go. Okay. Now because we've got the cables nice and short, we can actually see cables are coming out of here in the right position because the cable's short. And all we have to then do is look after underneath the sheave wheel, and you can see it's twisted there. Turn it round. These are now not twisted, and if we just hold them there like that, it's nice and easy. And using this nut and bolt that's provided in the fitting instructions, you simply pass this into here, and with a temporary fixing, that goes on like that. Now you'll notice I'm not getting hot and bothered if cables are popping up anywhere. I know that as long as I put that on the right place, I know as long as that's not been twisted when I push it into here, as long as these 2 points don't turn round, the thing can't be twisted. So all we now have to do is worry about this one later on, because this side will be sorted. And all we have to do then is push our pulley all the way back to meet up with the springs, and we'll connect the springs and the pulley together, and then we come back and we worry about these two. But you can see these are now short, so that's not going to be a difficult job. And this is how we manage the cables, nice and easily, no dramas. Okay, so we've passed our pulley back, we've met up with the springs, and now we're going to hook them up. Dead straightforward. We'll start on the further away one, lifting it out, make sure the hook's upwards. We get our pulley, and we just simply hook it in like that, making sure we don't twist this round, because remember, as long as we won't twist that round, then the inside cable's not going to be twisted. Hook's down here, so we just turn it round, lift the bracket out, and hook it in. Okay, pop everything back in. We're not worrying about cables twisting, we're just wanting everything back in the way we had it. And the last thing I do again is, remember we talked about this bracket, this clip, just before we go away from it, make sure it's not moved while we've been hooking up. Mine had. Get it back to that 10mm away, just one last little look down, nothing else is moved. Great, that's the springs hooked up to the pulley. Nice and easy. Inside cables are fine. We've just got to worry about these outside cables, which are now actually short at the front, okay? So let's go back to the front and hook them up to the anchor points in the frame. Okay guys, so we've got our inbound cable that's going to hook up to the bottom of the panel in the right place. So what we now need to do is get our outbound cable, which is on the outside of the frame leg, which is going to hook up and take the tension of the door. And that easy way to do it is to go back to the pulley, get our cable, there it is there, the outbound side, and we just want to make sure that it's not wrapped around the inbound cables, okay? So just have a little check in there and you can see it's not. Now it could be twisted this, but my advice is ignore that just now, we'll come back to that in a second, okay? It's all about stages. So we just want to pass this cable down the inside, down the back of the pulley. Here it comes, carry it up. And keep it on the outbound side of the cable. Okay, so that's going to be running down the back there and running down the back. Okay, now it's got a little home it needs to go into, and I need you to just come in a little bit close so I can show you exactly where it goes. So here we are, we're just about to untwist the cables and get everything nice and easy, but there's a route that the cables have to go. Now this is the second method. In the first method, when the tracks are coming down at 45 degrees onto the ground, this gap is opened up. With the tracks already up and at 90 degrees and running horizontally, this gap can be quite tight. But basically what we need is we need two of these cables behind here, and it's the inbound cables we're looking to do. So what I would do is, I just pull those out of the way, I get hold of these two here. Now you can see I'm having a little bit of trouble getting it in there. You might have to ease that with a screwdriver, just ease it ever so slightly. And then pull it all down, put some tension onto everything so that your inbound cables are sitting on top of the sheave wheel. And remember, they can't be twisted up because we've set this up earlier on so that nothing will twist, and that we just, again, make sure our cables are running down the back. Okay, so there we go, they're running down the back. Now we could have a twist in these cables, and that's what we're going to do now. We're just going to double check and remove that twist from the cable. And we mainly want to do this by keeping a little bit of tension in everything, and then it'll nicely come together, okay? Okay, so we've now got all of our cables routing in the right order. So we just want to go through it and make sure that nothing's twisted. Dead simple. All I do is, as ever, is go back to the pulley, look for a twist, and there we have one. Just here, you can see it moving up the cables. So if you put your thumb in there, you just guide that twist all the way to the front, and then lay it over the top of the pulley, and then pull your twist down through the back, and actually pull it all the way through. Then the twist will come down into these cables here, and you can straighten out at the bottom. You can see there, holding that little bit of tension and everything, kind of checking. Pulled it all the way down, and we now have our two cables there. We can now get our bracket, our hook that's going to hook onto the frame here, and the cables. Just take the one that's on the inside and hook it up there, other to the other side like that. Those Christmas cracker things. Again, just making sure the cable's running down the back nicely, and then simply hook it up the frame leg like so. And a final check on everything up, everything's routed in the right place. The cable's on the top nicely, all the way down, no twists there. This is also sitting on top of the tree wheel and the grooves, so we now know that everything's installed, routed in the right place, and not twisted. And it's really easy because we just broke it down into stages and didn't fight with one great big cable and try and get everything done at the end. So I hope you found that useful. Now I'm going to go ahead here now and put the tray lids on. I'm going to put the twist brackets on, but that's how you put your cables and your springs in nice and easily when you've got your spring trays already installed and levelled up and square and everything. Thanks very much.